Hey, everybody, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen, with another phenomenal podcast for you today. We're going to get going here in just a couple minutes. We got a good guest with us today, and so we'll be bringing him in a little bit. He's the owner operator of the Pacific Dawn out of San Diego, and then in the wintertime he goes up north. But right now, we're going to bring him in just a few minutes, my good friend Mike Loust. But before we do any of that, gang, I want you to understand how important fishingbooker.com is. Fishingbooker.com is going to be the way that you're going to, I see him too. It's going to be the way that I see you, Mike, don't worry. Fishingbooker.com is how you can book a boat anywhere you're at. If you're in Florida, if you're in Mexico, if you're in California, you can book on fishingbooker.com, and then you'll find the right charter boat for what you're trying to accomplish when you're out there on vacation somewhere and you just want to go fishing and you don't have the access to your saltwater guide. You can't call me on the phone. You can't get a hold of me. Go to fishingbooker.com. That's how you're going to find it. Elliot will throw up fishingbooker.com's QR code in a few minutes. We're just showing you the website. They got boats all over the place for whatever type of fishing you want to do, from marlin fishing to bottom fishing to fly fishing. Fishingbooker.com is going to cover all of your fishing needs, especially if you're on vacation and all of a sudden your wife or your spouse says, hey, why don't you try to go fishing tomorrow or the next day? You don't know who to call. You don't know what to do. You didn't even plan that you were going to get to go fishing. Just jump on fishingbooker.com and find a boat where you're at and go fishing. There's plenty of us that are members. There's plenty of us. Al Clowers is a member. Justin Botrell is a member. Pablo's a member of fishingbooker.com. Dana Orr Sport Fishing, my sister's landing is. And we'll talk to Mike Loust here in a few minutes, see if he's a part of Fishing Booker. But you want to check out Fishing Booker. So Elliot will throw the QR code up there throughout the show. Hopefully we'll get that going here. And there it is. Look at Elliot. He's such a good producer. Gang, I want to thank you all for what. Yeah, I know you guys don't even recognize me, huh? I was using my mustache. I was using a brand new trimmer that I got, and I was going to trim my mustache to look a little more sexy. And next thing I knew, I had shaved off half of it. So here we are. We're starting from scratch again. I'm going to grow my mustache back. But this guy that we're bringing on the show today, he's got the best porn mustache I've ever seen in my life. So he'll make up for it. I look 35 years younger. Wonderful. Perfect. That's what I want. Perfect. I like looking younger. But hey, without any further ado, let's get this show going. Let's get Mike Loust on here and let's talk. Mike, you there? Hey, can you hear me? Hello, Mike.
You're on, so smile and wave or something.
What's the matter?
I can't hear you.
Hello? Well, we could hear him, but he can't hear us. So hopefully they get this straightened out, get it figured out. Maybe Mike, answer your phone. Answer your phone. Yeah, who's the dude in Marley's room? Exactly. Pretty amazing. Shaved off that mustache. It made me look 100 times different. I made a big mistake yesterday with that mustache trimmer. Gang, I want to let you all know Fishing Booker is part of Your Saltwater Guide now. They are one of the big sponsors with Your Saltwater Guide. And then we still have Deckhand Sports. We'll be talking about Dave and the guys at Deckhand Sports here. We'll show you a cool video about the halfway point of today, and we'll talk about Deckhand Sports and all the great products that Dave and the boys make. But this fishingbooker.com, gang, is the way to charter a boat. But should we try Mike again, Elliot? See if he's got his volume on. Yes, no, maybe.
Which one?
Can you hear me?
I don't know what those are.
Can you hear
Echo
me?
cancellation.
No, can't hear me. All right. All right. That's okay. Gang, Mike was going to be on the boat going down the line today, so he had to scramble to get on here because I don't know if you guys watch the game plans or not, but the weather, and I'm sure you're all seeing it, the weather's absolutely garbage again today, and it's going to be kind of crappy till midday tomorrow. Then Sunday's going to be an absolute gorgeous day. So check out the website, yoursaltwaterguide.com. Check out windy.com to find out what's going on out on the water. You don't ever have to worry that you have to try to figure this stuff out on your own. You can go to my website, yoursaltwaterguide.com, and get all your fishing needs taken care of and figure out what the weather's doing and all the different things that are going on out on the water. And there's no reason to try to figure it out on your own like people say all the time. Oh, you should figure it out on your own like I did when I first started. Well, first of all, remember that guy's lying. He didn't figure anything out on his own. Somebody like me told him where to go and what to do and how to do it. That's how he figured out how to go fishing. He never figured it out on his own. So maybe we'll get this thing going here in a few minutes. Here, Mike Loust, we're doing everything we can. Elliot's calling him on the phone. We're trying to get him going here. That's just the fun of being live. Mike?
Yep.
No way. All right.
I got it.
We got a weird little echo going on.
Yes, we
Can
do.
you guys? Do we have a phone on or something? What's going on? You got a couple of units going there?
off. Hold on a minute.
Okay, can you hear me now? Do you hear me, Mike? Hello? 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 I don't know, Elliot. I got nothing. I know. Crazy, right, Pablo? I was trimming my mustache and I screwed up. Elliot's trying to help him. He's calling him on the phone. They're all working together, doing their due diligence to try to get Mike Loust on here. Mike Loust is the owner, operator of the Pacific Dawn out of San Diego. And we're supposed to be fishing that bluefin today, but as you all saw, the weather's garbage. So we're going to have them here on the show hopefully soon. They scrambled to get everything ready. I thought we were ready, but we'll get it going. It'll be okay. Next Tuesday, gang, we're going to be bringing Paul Hebert on the show. He called me and said he wants to come back on the show again. He was just on the show a year and a half ago, so that's good. We got him coming back on the show. I'm flying up to Southern California right after the show. I'm jumping on an airplane and flying up there. We got some products that just got delivered to Dana Orr Sport Fishing, Amazon orders for Kelly Girls. So I'm going to fly up there and grab all that stuff. So if you're going to be down in the wharf tomorrow morning, I'll be at Dana Orr Sport Fishing in the morning. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, I got you. We just switched to the cell phone.
All right, you're good. We're good. We can hear you. You can hear me. Let's do this.
All right.
Okay, Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Nothing like a little stress. It's like the bait pump just went out or something.
You know what? Stress is I would like to think that I operate better under stressful situations, but computers, foreign.
Thank God for our beautiful wives, right?
Yes.
So, Mike, the way I usually do this is I want to talk to you about how you got into this. Where did you come from? How did you find fishing? And then we'll talk about where you're at now. Yeah, Karen, I accidentally trimmed my mustache a little too close, but Mike Loust is making up for it with his beautiful porn mustache.
That's one night. That's one night.
Nice. So, Mike, how did you get into fishing?
Well, it's actually kind of a good story in a way. Well, when I was real young, my mom and dad, they, divorced like most back then. I was 6. He went and bought a sailboat of all things, and he moved to a sailboat. So I would go to the boat on the weekends, and just so happens the neighbors had a Hatteras, and what did the other guy have? Anyway, they had some sport fishers, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, is that your dad?" I said, "Yeah." I'm not gonna say what he called him, but he's like, "He's a real jerk. Why don't you come fishing with me tomorrow? You like fishing? I always see you smashing mussels on the dock. Why don't you come fishing with me? All you got to do is scrub the boat." I said, "All right." So I went I went albacore fishing, and that was it, man. Every weekend I'd come to my dad's, instead of scrubbing his boat and watching him drink, I went albacore fishing.
And where was this at?
This was in Long Beach. This is in Long
Okay.
Beach. This is a shoreline village when they first opened.
Right.
Yeah.
And how old were you then?
I was 6.
Woo! Yeah, buddy.
I was
How
6.
cool is that?
It was rad. It was rad. These guys kind of took me under their wing, and albacore was only like 10 miles from the harbor, 15 miles from the harbor. It was pretty, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. I was very fortunate.
Yeah, you were to start out fishing albacore when you first started.
Yeah.
And then how did you get into, so you got that bug for fishing, then you were talking about smashing mussels on the dock. Did you used to smash the mussels and use them right there on the dock to catch fish?
Yep. Opaleye and
Oh yeah.
croaker.
There's nothing better than as a little kid fishing off the dock. That's how I started down at Dana Wharf, fishing off the dock, between the dock and the rocks, when I was a little kid, with little treble hooks and those mussels.
Sight fishing, man.
Absolutely. It was the funnest.
It
So
was the
then,
best.
so then you started doing life, growing up as a little boy. How did you end up working on a boat?
So I wanted to get it. I wanted to work at Dana Wharf when I was, I don't know. I was like 14, and my parents were like, "Dude, there's no way you're going to school. You're going to school," because one of my buddies was on independent studies and he was working on the Seahorse, and they're like, "There's no way you're gonna do that." Like, what are you talking about? This is what I want to do. I suck at everything else. This is what I want to do. Well, they wouldn't let me do it, so we bought like a real piece of junk Boston whaler, and we had this old God, I can't remember. It was a Evinrude, and well, that's we started fishing that way, and I ended up having kids and working for my parents, and I just kind of forgot about it. I was miserable driving to work every day. I just couldn't picture myself driving to the same spot for the rest of my life every day. And one day I just said, I'm going to get a divorce, and I'm going to go down to the harbor and get a job on one of those boats. I did both. It sounds crazy, but I did it, and well, pretty much changed my life. Changed my life for the better. I couldn't believe it. I went down. I was talking to Corey Leeser. I was the first guy I talked to on the boats down there. They're like, we usually don't hire guys your age in the winter. There's no work. And I said, Corey, I'm going to come down here every day until you hire me. It was March. It was in February. They were fishing sculpin. It was in February. And so I just so happened to come down 2 weeks in a row every day. And it was 2 for $1 Tuesday. They had 100, not 100, but they had like 65 people on the Clemente. They handed me some pliers. I had tennis shoes on. They handed me some pliers. They said, "You're coming with us." I said, all right. Butchie was on the boat. Rest his soul. Butch. And yeah, that was it, man. I was like, God, I'm on the water. I was like, so how much do I get paid? They're like, paid? What do you mean get paid?
Right.
They split their tips with me. I still thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I was on the water. I was like, dude, I'm not going back. I told my dad, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm going to live off savings. I'm not going back. And I lived off whatever tips they gave me.
Right.
I mean, it took a couple of weeks to get $150, but I didn't care. I had a goal. From then on out, I was like, I want to be up there. I want to drive. Yeah. I like taking people.
When I met you, you were working for my buddy Tommy White.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Tommy White, Chris Pica.
Yeah. I mean, you trace it back. Corey Leeser, he's talking about a few minutes ago, started his career working for me as a pinhead on the California Dawn shark fishing off of Newport when he was a little kid. He was this tiny little, God rest his soul.
Yeah,
Love Corey. He was a great guy. But yeah, that Dana Wharf Sport Fishing has put together a lot of really good people in the industry because of the fact that my father instilled into us that service orientation thing. You remember. It
we
isn't
had to
a
do it.
weird.
There was nothing to catch for a while there. There was nothing to catch. We had to entertain. We had to be good to the people. If you wanted them to come back, that's all it was. It was straight up customer service. That's where I met Aliar. That's where I met Brian Pfeiffer. Curtis Chapman, all those guys. That's what we did. Customer service.
That's why we created so many great captains and so many great deckhands out of Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. That service thing, my father instilled that. I used to have to tell the people when I was a kid, you got to let me take the fish off. You have to, because people wanted to do it themselves. I'm going, you can't do it yourself. And they're like, why? I go, because I'm going to get in trouble if my dad sees you taking your own fish off. You got to let me take it off, sir. You have to. It's a weird world. You go to other landings and you don't see that. But
that's where everybody got their hook back, and it was retied.
Exactly.
And I instill that into my crew members. If you take your own hook out, I don't like it. I don't like it. I make sure they do all of it. Unless, of course, it's wide open. We still do what we can to take it out. We'll take it out and retie you.
Absolutely. So now you're working at Dana Wharf Sport Fishing as a pin. Basically, how old were you when you started?
Like 27, 28.
As a 28-year-old pinhead. Right?
I didn't care. I really didn't care. I didn't care.
No,
I was so stoked. I was stoked. I loved it.
No, it's the best way to grow up. And then you were already grown up and you knew that was there though, and you wanted to do it. How badass is that you got to go and do your dream?
I did. And it was your sister was like, why? Who's that guy? Who is that? How come he's not on payroll? Why is he on payroll? Get him on payroll, please. We need more guys like that. Get him on payroll. And your sister was cool. We got me on payroll. And I would have stayed. I had that itch to fish tuna, and I wanted to eventually get on a long range boat because I knew I could make more money and sustain a family. And I knew I could learn everything there was needed to learn about refrigeration, the boat, the engine room, and I wanted to be sure that I knew all of that stuff before I got my license. I don't know. I felt like I had to start at the very bottom before I got to that point. I felt like I had to. I know I see a lot of people, they don't, but I wanted to, and that's what I did.
And I think that's why you excel so much in the business that you're doing now and what you're doing. And we'll talk about that later on in the show. But I think that work ethic that you have is the key to being a good captain, because there's so much more to being a good captain than fishing. I mean, any idiot can catch a fish. Can you make that boat run? Can you fix that bait pump? Can you fix that cooling system for the beer box or for the RSW? Can you? Because let's face it, Mike, when you're out there on the ocean, you can't call somebody to come. If you don't know how to fix it, then you're going to be running around with it broken all day.
No marine exchange at Hurricane Bank.
No. So when you left Dana Wharf Sport Fishing and you went down to San Diego, how did you find a job down there?
Well, I got a job with Sean Throwbridge. Nobody wanted to work for him. And I didn't mind him. He liked me. He tormented the hell out of his crew, but he never gave me a hard time. I learned a lot from Sean. And then Aaron Barnhill, I became good friends with him. He taught me a lot. He taught me a lot. And
So you worked over on the Shogun with Aaron?
I left over. Aaron was on the Legend. He was offered the Legend. He didn't want to buy it, so Frank turned around and offered him the Shogun, and I went over with him with the Shogun, him and Cole, and I was one of their engineers over there. Man, what a lot of systems to go from the Legend to to that, and I thought it was the coolest.
Absolutely.
I loved it. I loved it.
And how long did you work on the Shogun?
Well, that was the thing. I whenever I feel like I'm done excelling, like if I feel like that's as far as I can go with that current situation, I'm not going to learn anymore, or I feel like it's getting dull, I move on, because I had a goal, and it wasn't Aaron. It was another crew member, and he was the engineer, and well, I wanted to be the engineer, and I did everything that I could to try to be. And let's just say I think I was there for about 7 months, and Roy Rose asked me to come work with him. So I went to go and I worked on the Royal Polaris, and on the Royal Polaris, they have a schedule. And anyway, to make a long story short, I didn't get off the boat for like 50 days. And I was like, you know what, man, I need a schedule. I got a family. And that's when Justin Fleck on the Excel, he called me. I went to work for him, made a schedule, and I didn't leave. I stayed there for, I don't know, 6 years.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. How bitchin' is that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, those guys, they treated me good. Frank treats me good too, but those guys over there, they needed a guy really bad, and well, it was a good fit. At that time, it was a good fit. So it was cool.
Oh, yeah. What a wonderful way to change your career and go over to San Diego. I mean, that's a totally different world than Dana or sport fishing. It's a totally different world. It's a dog world down there, boy. There's some competition going on. There's some gnarliness.
Yeah. Yeah. I do miss living only 7 minutes from work. Being able to ride a bike to work was pretty cool.
Yeah, Donna's watching right now. Donna loves watching the show, and she was super excited that you were going to be on today. She said she absolutely loves you and your wife. So that's good, and she's watching right now. So that's even better to have Donna watching. How old were? When did you get your license? Where were you when you got your license?
So I waited. I like I said, I did not feel like I wanted to continue to learn everything that I could about a stupid boat. I wanted to be able to fix everything that I could. And 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, my wife and we took the class together. She has more sea time than I think than I do. No, but she has a lot of sea time too. She spent 16 years at Ocean Institute, and she worked on their boat for 16 years. And well, I talked her into it, and we got our license together 4 years ago.
Now, just to let everybody know, what does Brittany do?
She works on a research vessel out of the Ocean Institute. She basically takes kids, on field trips and stuff, kids that have never even seen the ocean, on the ocean, to do plankton samples, mud grabs, and if they get lucky, find a couple whales and teach them about whales and dolphins. So, the youth can actually respect the ocean and someday take care of it. Because if they don't know anything about it, they don't care about it. Right?
Right. Yep. So that's pretty cool. I don't think we've had a husband and wife team, both captains, on the podcast ever before. And I would love to sit down with your wife one day and have her on the podcast without you here. But then you guys kind of got into running a couple of other, or you did, you got into running a couple other sport boats. And then lo and behold, the great Frank Lopresti decided that he wanted to have you as a partner on a boat. Why don't we talk about that for a few minutes and then we'll get into your business?
Frank, I have a lot of respect for Frank. He's always been very good to me. I've always looked up to Frank, and he's taken good care of my family. So I came to him a while back and I said, Frank, I want to buy a boat. And he told me a certain number that I should come up with and come talk to him. Well, I took a year off and I was running yachts, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't gnarly enough for me. I wasn't fishing enough. So I came to him with that chunk of money, and we started looking for a nice boat, something that would be a good fit for the family. And I had my eyes set on the Pacific Dawn. It's a fiberglass boat. It's in great shape, and I know Pat has always done a great job keeping the boat on the up and up. And so I thought it has a great business, great reputation. I thought it was a no-brainer. There were a few other ones that were up for sale, and I still think I made the right decision. But yeah, it was really cool getting him on board because well, it's always nice to have guys like that, kind of mentor you a little bit. And I take his advice very, very much so.
Yeah, he's helped a lot of people in the industry get in, like he's helping you and your wife get in. It's a good thing to have Frank in your corner with you. That's for damn sure. People kind of pay attention to what Mr. Lopresti has to say in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, didn't he start in Dana Wharf?
Yep. No, San Clemente Sport Fishing with my dad. He used to come down in Pinhead with him. My dad would let him steer the reel fund. When my dad was running the reel fund, he'd let him steer it back to the original Clemente. I'm sorry. I've got it wrong. The original Clemente. My dad would go to sleep on the gunny sacks. Back then, they didn't have enclosed wheelhouse. My dad would go to sleep on the gunny sacks and tell Frank to drive the boat back to the pier. Don't hit Seal Rocks. They called it San Mateo Rocks back then. And that's when Frank decided that he wanted to be a captain. And then he left Dana Wharf and went up to Newport Beach. He left San Clemente Sport Fishing, went to Newport Beach, and then came back on the Patrician. Oh, my God, in like the early 70s.
Yeah.
He was second operator for Spike Taff on the Patrician. And then the story goes on and on and on from there. But today we're talking about you and Brittany and the beautiful business you guys have put together, the great following you have. And man, you were on that Bluefin here a month and a half ago when it wasn't even supposed to be here. You put together a couple spectacular night bites people are still talking about today and wishing they were there. And now everybody's out there looking for this fish. So yeah. Why don't we go into your business now? Talk about your boat, talk about your business, talk about what's going on with the future of Pacific Dawn and how people can come fishing with you guys.
All right. All right. Well, I love tuna fishing. I really do. I like looking for them. I like going offshore, and the Pacific Dawn is it's a great platform to fish offshore with. It's very reliable. Fiberglass, rides beautifully, drifts nice, and I opted not to go to Ventura this year. There was a couple reasons, but the main one was I felt like if I was going to establish a year-round business in San Diego, that I needed to start now. I needed to start now while there was still Bluefin. And I felt like I needed to get out there first and early. I have some friends that are in the industry that kind of follow these Bluefin around, and I knew that they were out there early on in the year, and I was like, well, why not? Let's do it. I was told that people don't want bluefin this time of the year. They want to go rock fishing, which some do, but I can't sell tickets rock fishing. I wasn't able to. The second we caught a bluefin tuna, that's when I realized that people just want tuna fish, and that's at least the down there. It's been such a phenomena, and it's had such phenomenal fishing over the last 6 years that it's not. I wish it would last, or I hope it lasts forever, but I need to kind of capitalize on it while I can to try to get as many new faces on the boat as possible. The boat is chartered from July on. That's how it's always been. Go to Ventura from March until July, and then start the charter season in San Diego. Not very many open party stuff going on in San Diego in the summer, so I felt like this was the best opportunity to get new people on the boat, have them find out about the boat, just get dialed in on what we do and how our crew is and how we take care of the fish and the people.
Yeah, so talk about the boat. There's a lot of people here from back east and stuff listening. I know the people in San Diego know the boat, but we got people from all over the world listening and watching this podcast, and people are going to come and go fishing with you now more than ever because you've been on the podcast, and the industry's starting to understand the power of your saltwater guide. And Mike, you're going to be blown away by how many people that told you I don't pay attention to Dave Hansen. They're going to go, you were on Hansen's show. That was so cool. You'll be shocked. There's 30 million people watching us every month. Somebody's watching, and all those people that say they ain't watching, they're watching.
I love it.
And I do too. You and I laugh about it all the time.
Yeah. People talk a lot of trash.
Oh, yeah. But talk about your boat, how bitchin' you and Brittany's boat is and how spectacular. Oh, hold on a second. We need to do something real quick. Stop. Go. Deckhand Sports. Check out this kill bag, Mike. I don't know if you have these on your boat or not, but look at this.
How many big ones can you fit in there?
A lot.
Go back. Well.
Mike, Dave from Deckhand Sports is watching the show right now. He's got the 91-inch kill bag. He's got the 91-inch. But see how those ribs are in there to keep the fish up off that slimy dead water? Did you see that? Look at that.
Yeah. That's cool.
No one's ever done that before. And those, they're little like bin boards, and they come in or out. They're Velcroed in there. It's a pigeon thing. And the way he made these bags to open and close, you can do it with one hand. I know you guys have your RSW on your boat and all that stuff, but man, these bags are insane. They don't leak. They don't have that condensate. Look at there's a swordfish in a bag.
Yeah, that's nice. No, I'd like to have a couple of those.
Well,
I'd like to get some of those.
Well, Dave's watching. We can get you dialed in. We can get you set up. Dave watches the show every day. He's going to probably reach out to you when the show's over. I'll give you his phone number.
That'd be great.
It's a bitchin' bag, leak proof, condensation proof, which is a big killer with those other bags, Mike. When you put them in your car, that condensation builds up. By the time you get home, Brittany wants to kill you because the car's all wet inside.
I took it.
I'm on my show, Sean.
I went sea bass fishing at Catalina, and I took the Catalina Express back. The kill bag was leaking so bad that I went and I got a tarp and 5 rolls of duct tape, and I put 2 sea bass in the tarp and 5 rolls of duct tape and took that with me on the Catalina Express. So I could use one of those bags.
Oh, we're going to get you taken care of, buddy. I promise you. They're a bitchin' bag. So We were going to, before we showed you this commercial about the Deckhand sports bag. Oh, cool, Jason. Very nice. Yeah, get them while the getting's good. Get them while we got the discount from your saltwater guide. And Elliot will throw the QR code up there, gang, and you guys can order these bags. And like Mike just said, he wants one. He just saw it. You all need one. And everybody that has one, they talk about it on the show all the time. It's a phenomenal product. It works really good. It's got everything. We were using those little dry bags for your backpack. We were putting all our lobsters in it this year when we get done lobster fishing. Everybody takes a dry bag home with their 7 legal lobsters, and it's pretty. He's on top of it. He's definitely coming from our angle as a fisherman, making these bags for fishermen. So it covers every aspect, and we'll show you all that cool stuff about it later, Mike. But tell us about the Pacific Dawn. What's it all about? How's it put together? What kind of a boat is it? How many people does it sleep? Does it have a galley, bathroom, shower? What has it got?
The boat, it's a Magitech. There's only 2 that I know of in San Diego, and the boat is built up in the Pacific Northwest, so it handles that kind of weather. The Pacific Voyager, that's also a Magitech. That's the only other one that I know of. And we have a galley, of course. We have an oven. We have a flat top. We can cook pretty much anything. We have steak dinners on the last night. The boat sleeps comfortably 19 passengers and 5 or 6 crew members. But the boat itself, if you're chartering it, I don't know. It's 65 feet long, but it's 60 feet long at the waterline. And the walkways going up and down the side of the boat are very wide. You know, you're not really smashed into each other. But I would say 12 to 15 is an optimal charter for that boat. If you're doing a 2-day, I'd say 15 is fine. If you're doing or a day and a half, 17 is fine. 15 on a 2-day, a 2.5 day. Let's call it 12. 12 is a beautiful number, especially if you're catching big tuna. You can get around people real easy. Not very many tangles. That boat, I've had that boat out at Cherry Bank when I shouldn't have been out there. But the boat rides so nice, it drifts nice. You know, I think it was 22 knots, and I think I had probably 9-foot seas, but at least it was at 12 seconds. we fished 2 days like that out there, and the guys were fine. But the bunk room is one of the reasons why I bought the boat. The bunk room is really cool how it's set up. You're positioned not forward to aft, but inboard to outboard. Yeah. Your feet are inboard, your head is outboard. So when the boat rocks, you pretty much rock yourself to sleep instead of rocking yourself off the bunk. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's the very best. Every boat that I've worked on since I'm 40 years old until 62. That's the bunk I always look for, is the bunk that goes side to side, not bow to stern. There's nothing worse.
I should have taken a little picture of it to send it to you. We just got it all recarpeted. Alan, he does all the long range boats. This was the first little boat he's ever done, and he did my boat. Very fortunate to have him carpet it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's all new downstairs. But that sleeping situation is good, especially if you're a big guy. You're not stacked up on top of each other. There's plenty of room, and it's only so if you're on the bottom, it's there'll be a guy on the bottom, and then it's what do you call it, caddy corner, or it's like offset. You know, it's not directly above like a bunk bed. It would be, you know, like a foot or so offset from the bottom bunk. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But it's good for people that are bigger or have a hard time getting in and out of your bed.
Right, and plus you don't have to step on that guy underneath you when you're trying to get up there. If you're trying to
Exactly.
get up, that's like
Exactly.
I have a visual because I grew up in the end. I'm thinking what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
like the side to side gang, and if you've ever been on a boat, and you've slept bow to stern, it is horrible because the boat's bucking all day, night and all day up and down like this. And it's a horror. I don't care if you're my age or Mike's age or a young kid. That is a horrible way to sleep because everything's getting shoved up into your head and then back down to your feet, then up into your head. But if you're in the bed just rocking like this, oh, it's
great.
beautiful.
You don't feel anything. People are amazed when we're in really bad weather. And we've been in some pretty bad weather this year. It seems like every time we try to come in, it's terrible. Yeah, every time my wife comes out, it's awful, like awful.
There you go. Elliot's throwing some pictures of your beautiful boat up here on the.
Okay, thank you.
You got a little bucket on the roof, huh?
Yeah, we got a bucket. Guys are up there from morning until dark. I try to keep 2 guys in the mast at all times. The boat never stops fishing. Let's just say if we're on our way in and I run over a school, I stop. The processors don't appreciate it because I've been known to come back to the dock. They call me Late Loust. I've been known to come back to the dock a few hours late, more often than not. We're working on that, but it's like I said, it's very hard for me to go back empty-handed or go back to the dock when I know a couple people don't have a fish. And especially if we run over a school, I'm stopping. I've never passed a school up, and I just don't have it in me to keep driving. I can't do it unless we have limits, of course. But I just can't. I can't stop. The sonar goes down 5 miles from the harbor, and it comes back up 5 miles from the harbor. So.
And that's so good that you talked about the sonar because now everyone's getting to see how beautiful your boat is and all the cool things, and we heard about it. Now let's do something that most people, especially those people that are in the Midwest and back east, are listening. You're going to get on this boat, and Mike said 12. If I was going to charter the boat, I'd take 10. That's just me.
Yeah.
The boat is beautiful. It's going to fish 10 like epic. You're not even going to think about it. Now, if you need a little help financially, yeah, it's 17. But if you can pull 10 off and you can afford it, I would do charter with 10. That's just Captain Dave.
No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right.
That is a beautiful boat, and it's going to be bitching. But let's say, Mike, you're one hell of a fisherman, and I know you don't get enough credit for your fishability and the fact that you've been only running boats for 4 years. You would never know it when you get on the boat with Mike because he wants to catch fish more than you do. And I try to explain that to a lot of people when they talk to me. Well, why was on this boat? The guy, no, there's nobody on the boat really on a good boat that wants to catch fish more than the captain. Because if Mike doesn't catch fish, Brittany doesn't get to go get groceries for the kids tomorrow. It's just that important. And the people on the boat aren't coming back. And like Loust said, he's Late Loust, but they used to call me Midnight Dave because I didn't know we had a time to be in. That didn't make sense to me. I know the boat left at 6 a.m, but I didn't see the return time. I didn't understand that. I'd be coming in, I'd be getting, and back when I was doing it, we didn't have a cell phone. I would have my brother and my dad just madder than hell calling on the VHF radio over and over. I wouldn't even, I just turned it off. I didn't want to hear, but we got that disease, you and I. We want our passengers all to catch as many fish as we can. And not that the other captains don't, but there's just certain guys that are built a little bit different, and Loust is one of them. So, Mike, let's get into your head for a minute as far as going fishing. We're going to charter your boat for 2 days or 2.5 days or 3 days. What are you going to do before you go? Because so many people say, oh, I like to figure it out on my own. And they're so full of crap. Do you figure it out on your own, Mike Loust, as a professional boat owner? Do you go out there and figure it out? Do you call guys like Ali or Andrew? Do you call people and get info?
I call everybody. I call as many people as I can. I try to do my homework. And first I look at the water pictures. I look at all that stuff so I don't sound like an idiot when I'm talking to these guys. And then I go from there. What'd you catch? How many? What'd you see? What'd you see, and how many did you get? And that's pretty much it. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot just in the last couple of years, and it's just best to keep it short, sweet. And where's it at? How much of it? And did it bite? And yeah, I do a lot of homework. I probably stare at that sea view 50 meter on my time off. I do it on my time off. I do it when I wake up in the middle of the night. I look at it a lot, but yeah, like, oh yeah, it's basically like your terrafin or your sea surface temp, but you're measuring the water temperature at 50 meters versus on the surface. That it's satellite imagery that, I don't know, their math formula. I is fairly accurate because I've had Brittany drop a thermometer down and I looked on the thing and she would drop one down, 150 feet, and it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. So anyway, that's what I do. I incorporate a little bit of science, and I call a lot of people.
And the reason why I wanted you to talk about that is because with my website, yoursaltwaterguide.com, we have a lot of private boaters watching this show today. Plus, we have a lot of people that are going to go fishing with you. But I want you all to understand, when I talk to you guys on the podcast every day and I tell you no one's figuring this thing out on their own, not even Frank Lopresti figures it out on his own. He calls Roy and he calls Andy and he calls the guys that have been down on the ridge, and he asks, like Mike said, we like to know what you caught, but we want to know more. And Frank, anybody that does this for a living, we want to know, what did you see? What did you see? What did the water look like when you went by the 9? What did the water look like when you went by the rock pile? What did the water look like when you went by the 302? We want, because Mike is like putting all the puzzle together, gang. Nobody, and I see this on Instagram and some of the other, Dave Hansen's website, you should just go figure it out on your own like I did. Well, the guy's lying. He didn't figure nothing out.
He just trolled around with a Mad Mac until he got bit.
Around Mike. Just trolled around Mike for 3 days until he got bit. Until a fish fell out of your scuppers. But I want you to understand another thing. Mike Loust, how often do you get on 72 or 65 and talk to people about what you're seeing on the VHF radio? Like, never?
Yeah, no, it's those open channels, and unless we do the 30-30, unless we have a code, right. Talking code a little bit, but not really. I mean, we have dispatches. We all have Starlink on our boats now, so I use a cell phone. It's caveman age.
This is how we get
into radio. We're like, radio, what's that?
Right.
Everything's done through WhatsApp and cell service.
And that's what I wanted everybody that's listening right now, because I talk about it all the time. The VHF radio, gang, isn't going to help you. And the guys that are doing this professionally for a living, like Mike just said,
I'll send you the wrong direction.
Exactly.
On the VHF radio.
Yeah, we're not going to share the information, gang. And there's nobody really that's catching fish. I mean, a lot of you are listening right now, and I'm going to ask this question like I do at the trade. Anybody out there ever been on a wide open bite? And people are going to say, yeah. And I go, is the first thing you thought of was I got to get to the radio and call everybody? Negative. Mike's not going to even call his friends until he gets that first 100 on the boat. And then maybe you'll call Aliar.
What if you see it and you got 6 going and you lose them all and then they're gone? And then that guy just left his school to come after yours. you know, so it's, you want to make sure you at least get 100 before you call somebody.
Right. Right. And I just want everybody that's listening to understand this. We're not sharing information on the VHF radio. So quit listening to the VHF radio. It's not going to do you any good. You need to get involved with somebody that's going to share information with you. If there's not your Saltwater Guide website, get on someone else's website that's been doing it for a living. The other guy out there that's been doing it for a living for 50 years, get on his web. Oh, wait a minute. There isn't a website. Oh, so it's mine or none, nothing. There's no other place where you're going to get this kind of information. There's nobody else that owns a website that can call Mike Loust and find out where he caught his fish at, right? No. Talk about that bluefin you found a month and a half ago down there. What happened? How did you figure that out? Were you going rock fishing? What were you doing?
No, I was going tuna fishing. I was going tuna fishing. We did one trip down the beach, and well, we didn't get off the dock. So I went west. Went in, found some blue water, and I can't give you all my secrets.
No. We don't want all your secrets.
But no, this year's been kind of strange for the commercial guys too. It's like all this fish has been in beautiful blue water. It's been in pristine blue water, and it's all been on the tad warm side, you know, and that's pretty much what I was looking for. Beautiful water. I started that southeast water structure, Cortez Bank, and kind of just followed that. Saw chippers and small fish to the mushroom, and then they started getting bigger. Got 14 miles below the 60-mile bank, and that's when they turned into 90s to 120s, and there was a lot of them. But if you look at the structure, the water structure, it was all pretty generic except for the 50 meter. And I don't know, something was holding them there for a couple weeks, but they kept moving southeast. And luckily by then, I was only out there, I think, twice or three times by myself. And then Aliar started running, and then him and I were out there. So I had some help. He had some help. We worked together, and yeah, we kept locating them. It was cool. There was a lot of them, but it was in a small area. You could drive 100 miles and not see a single fish, and then get to this one little area, and it, you know, 9, 10 breezers up at one time. It was good. It was cool.
Was there a lot of night fishing going on, or was it eyeball daytime stuff, or was it?
Well, there was a little bit of both. I think the full moon is not good for tuna fishing. People can say what they want, but I have not had a decent bite at night when it comes to bluefin with a full moon. Sea bass is a whole different animal. But the moon screwed us up a couple of times. But the second that cloud cover came over, you know, we'd start catching them. It started out that we would roll in there right after dark, and right before the sun came up, like let's call it 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. You'd find a school, you were able to capitalize until the sun came up. When the sun came up, you'd see them all day, catch nothing. Or you might get 1 or 2 bites, you know, 20 fathoms, 30 fathoms of fish, very little response. But then once that certain hour came at night is when you can capitalize on them. And you just hope you're there when it happens. And yeah, we've been lucky. We've been able to catch some fish, and we've been able to build up some momentum. It's been cool.
When you're doing that night fishing for those bluefin, and you're using the slow pitch jigs and the knife jigs and all that stuff, do you find that once you hook the first fish, that kind of flips a switch on the rest of those fish and makes them decide that they want to bite too?
I think they start to like, hey, what's he doing? You know, hey, what's George doing? Hey, George, what are you doing? It gets them interested, and then they start thinking it's food because they see 20 jigs going up and down. And I think they start getting a little competitive, and they start, start fighting for it. I think the lights help a lot. Being the only thing that's illuminated in the middle of the ocean, definitely helps a little bit. But yeah, I definitely I agree with that. Once you hook one, if you're in that same area where you hooked them and there's other fish, I think it gets them excited and they bite more. I do.
Yeah,
I do.
if you never witnessed, it's the strangest thing in the world. And Mike can tell you, he's looking at the machine and he's seeing that fish at 150 or 200 feet down, and he's seeing it and he can't figure. I know I can't figure. How do you even get your lure through it? It's like a wall, and you're like,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, that first guy will hook that first fish, and you go look back at the machine, and you're like, the stuff's all spread out now. It's all just changed. It was like locked
It woke
on.
up.
It's like locked on as just almost looks like the bottom. And then all of a sudden you hook that first fish, they spread out, they start getting all weird. You start seeing them swim through the sonar and doing all kinds of weird
They
stuff.
start acting right.
They start acting like they want to die. That's the right way for them to act.
They
for
start
us.
acting right.
We want to see them want to die. But this whole nighttime fishing thing, Mike, is kind of, I mean, we used to pick away at a fish once in a while when we get down there an hour before it would get light in the morning. But you guys, what you guys
We
are
used to
doing nowadays,
shut down on a single fish. I won't even stop the boat unless there's 700 of them. We should stop on a single fish and turn off the engines and say, all right, we're going to drift here and see if we can collect.
and then I'm going to go to sleep and wake me up.
Yeah, wake me up at 7. Then we'll start driving around, or not 7, but start driving around. Wait, and then when the sun went down, you drove for a little bit while the guys cut fish. You went to bed. Now we drive around 24 hours a day looking for fish. And I'll be honest. I like it. I like it. I think it's cool because if you haven't experienced it, which most guys that own yachts have not, if you haven't experienced it, it's one of the most epic things you've ever seen, because these things are eating, 11, 12-0 hooks, 4 of them, and on 400-pound tests, and it's nice to be able to fish that kind of gear, for these animals. This 40-pound test crap, fly line bait for a 200-pounder is just, don't get me started. Don't get me started on that. But whoever told somebody that Tranks was a good bluefin reel needs to be shot. but the nighttime stuff has changed it, because you could literally have not caught shit all day, and then all of a sudden you're driving and you could bump into a school and completely change your whole trip.
Don't you find it rather strange, though, what you were just saying? They got 4 8 or 10 odd hooks in their mouth. You hooked them on 300-pound mono, and they still lose them.
They don't keep them tight.
You got to work so hard at losing that. I mean, when you hook one on the rope like that with 100 hooks hanging in his face, and then you still lose it, you got to feel pretty proud of yourself.
It's I just, the rods that are rated from 50 to 400 pounds, I don't get them. There's no backbone to them. They bend all the way to the handle. Guys are under the boat the whole time. You need something with a little bit of meat. Although those new that new slow pitch, the jigging rods. Yeah, I just started getting into that, and I'll tell you, I think that's the only way you can properly hook them during the day when they're not biting all that hot. I'm a believer. I'm a believer with those now. I am. I didn't believe it when I first saw it 8 years ago on the Excel on a Killsong trip. I was like, what are these guys doing? What is this? And now I'm a believer in those jigging rods. I really am. Those things work.
Oh, it's weird though for a guy like you and me to
Yeah.
see that thing that's parabolic that bends from the tip to the butt. And
Trust me, it took me forever to. I know. And then I gave in because I kept seeing the same guy was the only guy getting down, and he was winding to the boat faster than anybody else because that head would stay up. The rod was so short that by the time you'd lower his rod tip, the tuna keeps kicking, the head is still up, and it just spirals up. There's just something about it. There really is. You can't just lay it on the rail. You got to have some kind of strength, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But if you really like night fishing and you like jig fishing, you should probably give that a shot at least. I like using a 2x4 or
right.
I was using a lure there for a while, catching 150 pounders at night, 2-speed reel. I'd hand it off, and a guy would just sit on the handle and turn it. I mean, not sit on the handle, sit on the rod butt and just turn it, and it would keep the fish away from the boat. You know, that was actually my favorite way to hook them, was an lure.
Oh yeah, there's a nice big long rod, keeps them out away from all the people. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. You don't stand up with it and hold and fish it in your gut. Use the rail, but it works. It works.
no, and it's a great way to do it. And gang, like Mike's saying, there's so much stuff that has changed since I did this for a living. And guys like Mike and Aliar and Andrew, you guys from Dana Point, you guys put together the most spectacular. I mean, if we know that if you and Aliar are out there, you guys are going to find that bluefin. I mean, Frank talks about it all the time. If the two of you guys are out there, there's a pretty good chance that school's going to be located. And that's nothing to take away from all the other great captains out there, but there's just something going on in the two of you's mind that you guys have figured out this thing. You dissect that water. You guys are masters at the dissection of the water. And I mean, watching the two of you work together out there is so bitching for a guy like me that knows who you are. And then I see what you guys put together. And you were on that stuff before Aliar got out there, and then he got out there and gets all the glory, but you were already established. It's going to be a spectacular season to watch what you're doing. So why don't you, we already went over an hour. I can't even believe it. Why don't you give everybody your name or your phone number slowly, because there's a bunch of our audience driving around their cars. Elliot keeps the QR code up there, gang. Scan his QR code. You want to get out. It's a family-run operation. You're supporting a great family, and you're supporting the industry by going with Mike Loust and supporting his family. You want to look at, there we are. There's family.
Look, she's fishing.
Oh, good. Nice.
Okay, here you go.
Give everybody your number nice and slow.
All right. So I have a couple numbers here for you. So if you want to book a trip and you want to book a trip and you want to charter and you want to find out dates, please call Carl. I am so wrapped up in maintenance and everything else in fishing. When I'm at sea, this is the guy that he has all the answers. His name's Carl. His telephone number is 619-269-2186. You can even call Fisherman's Landing. Fisherman's Landing, 619-221-8500. And if you want to talk to me, you can call me anytime. My cell phone number, my personal phone number. You want to have any questions about the boat? Ask me what kind of trip you think. What's going on with the fish? What kind of tackle? You can always give me a call. I always pick up. Right, Dave?
Oh yeah, always.
I do my best. 949-697-8509.
And gang, the charter situation is way cool way to do it. Those of you that own companies, it's a good incentive to give back to your employees. Charter Mike's boat. Support Mike and Brittany and their family. Charter their boat. You're not going to be disappointed.
Oh,
Sometimes,
my son Charlie. He's just out of college. He's got his license and he's been running trips. He works for me too. So we got the whole family involved.
That is awesome. That is so cool. There's nothing better than working with your kids. Oh my gosh.
No, I love it. I missed most of his, upbringing because of, working on long range boats. But now I have an opportunity to share my knowledge and spend some time with him. It's pretty rad.
Oh, super rad.
Yeah.
Gang, the thing about going on a charter boat, you get to bring your friends, 4, 10, 12 of your best buds. And then if you got a company and you want to do it, you can charter the whole boat, company paid. You guys can cover the company can cover the galley cost, all food and everything. I've seen it many times where you want to incentivize your workers, take them on Mike's boat, give them the company paid galley, company paid everything, take them out bluefin fishing. I mean, the future right now, Mike, if you look at the water and what's going on and the pelagic crabs being here and everyone's talking a hint of El Nino, it's only as soon as the wind stops blowing, I think we're in for one of the most unbelievable 1983 type seasons that we've ever seen.
I hope so.
That volume of bluefin you and Allie are stumbled onto, I know it was in one little tight area, but there was a lot of fish there, right?
There was a lot of fish there. There was a tremendous amount of fish. And, like I said, it was 90 to 120s. And then it turned into straight 150s. I don't know where the 90 to 120s went. They probably are out in front of Dana Point somewhere eating anchovies. But it turned into 150s. And those ones were mean. They were mean. There was a lot of it. Yeah.
So when's your next trip?
Well, we just got done. We ran all week. Like there hasn't been a whole lot of bluefin caught. So we need.
Whoops. We lost the louses. Gang, we did the full hour. You got Mike's phone number. You got everything that you need to get with Mike on his boat. Gang, I want to thank you all for watching today, paying attention. I want to thank the Loust family for being on the show today. Don't forget Pacific Dawn Sport Fishing, San Diego, Fisherman's Landing. You can go down there and see him. There he is. He's back. Hold on. He's back. What'd you get, a phone call?
If we get 5 people, yeah, what'd you do? If we get 5 people, we'll make it a definite run. You might get lucky and only, you'll have the boat all to yourself. 5 people.
And
this time of the year is Sunday.
When's the next open party trip?
Sunday. Do we have any people?
Yeah, 2 people.
We have 2 people. If I can get 5 people, I'll make it a definite run.
2-day.
It's a 2-day limited load.
Woo! There you go, gang. You want to jump on a bitchin' rig and go see what it's all about, hang out? Mike, you bring the people up in the wheelhouse, explain to them what you're doing.
Doors always open. Doors always open.
See that, gang? It's a different world. It's a different thing. Because Mike's not afraid to show you what he's doing because he's confident in what he's doing. So he's not going to hide out up there in the bridge.
Come in there and ask me whatever you want, man.
And then it's kind of cool when you're on a boat like that because you can help figure out and go down there and tell your friends what really is going on up in the wheelhouse. I used to love to do that and take away all the power of everybody down on the deck when they start second guessing us. It's like, come on up. Tell me what I should be doing. I haven't been out since yesterday, so you probably have a way better idea of what I should do than I do.
I take a lot of pictures of the sonar and the fathometer.
Yeah.
See what's under the boat? How come you guys can't hook them?
Yeah, it's like we said, it's like there's so much fish under the boat. Mike's not, like he told you guys half an hour ago, he doesn't stop on one fish. He stops on 700. So you just got to be smarter than the fish he just stopped on. All right, gang, give Mike a call, support his family, get on that open party trip on Sunday. They only got 2 people. Call a couple of your buddies, get out there. 3 people, the boat's going to run for 5.
We're going to go. We burned 500 gallons on the last day and a half. And that's a lot for that little boat.
But you're out there sweeping and looking, right? Looking.
Have to. I want to keep looking. I want to keep looking until we find them. We had 23 halibut last trip.
Oh, wow. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
a good. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you. I didn't get a bluefin, but I got a halibut. That's not bad
Got
at
23
all.
halibut for 11 people or 12, whatever the limit is. I think.
Down there in Mexico.
Yeah, we got to sometimes catch something.
Yeah, that's right.
But we look for tuna the entire time. We looked all night long. Man, that's our primary focus is tuna. But we will throw in other stuff if it's applicable. Did I say it right? No.
Yeah, I
If
think
it's
you did
around.
okay. And then he's going to talk to you while you're on the boat. He's not going to make all the decisions by himself, gang. If you guys are just totally over it, you've been driving around for a day and a half or 2 days, and you're like, Mike, can we just catch something? He's going to say, yeah, let's go get 23 halibut.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big ones.
All right. Well, thank you guys very, very much for watching today. Thanks for being a part of the show, Mike. We appreciate you. We'll bring you back on later on in the season when you tell us about all. Well, wait a minute. Before we go, what's the biggest tuna so far?
On the boat?
Yeah. This year.
This year.
Yeah.
Shit.
180, 190?
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's what you said the other day. I heard you the other day on the show. Let's Talk Hookup. You and Frank were on there or something. You were talking about some fish that you caught. So, gang, thank you all for watching. We're going to get out of here. Remember, turn off the news. Everybody's lying. This is the only place you get the truth right here, your Saltwater Guide. We'll be back with you on Monday. I'll have another great show for you Monday. Great. Thank you, Mike. Brittany, thank you for helping Michael out. We appreciate it.